Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Now, the Justice Department, this is Biden's Justice Department now, has officially announced that there are federal criminal charges against 4 current and former Louisville Police Department officers for the murder of Breonna Taylor back in March 13th, 2020. This is a 26-year-old black woman who actually died after being woken up from a no-knock search warrant while she was laying up with her nigga and ended up being killed to a volley of gunfire from these officers, where this woman was actually, you know what I'm saying, a medical technician. She get into the ticket, you know what I mean, aspiring nurse and all of that. Gone. Was not able to wake up that day. So this actually got lumped into the unlawful murder of George Floyd during that time, and it sparked protests not only around the country but around the world. Say her name. That comes for Breonna Taylor, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Until Freedom, shout out to Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean? Groups that get a lot of bad rep, but they actually had boots on the ground that actually put the pressure on people to not only remember this case, but to also do something about it. We have Breonna's law. Now you have the Justice Department actually voting to initiating charges and indictments against these people. Now, moving on though, you had former Louisville police detective Joshua James actually being taken into FBI custody Thursday morning for obstruction and civil rights violations. Also charged with these indictments, you have police sergeant Kyle Meany, you have police officer Kelly Hannah Goodlett, and you have former police detective Brett Hankinson, whose bullet is what actually killed Breonna Taylor. And he actually was acquitted of wanton endangerment, basically for, you know, putting people in danger, whatever, recklessly putting people in danger, because he was shooting into the neighbor's house, even though the search warrant was for her home. Now, you have the Kristen Clark, shout out to her, black woman who's actually the head of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division and the Assistant Attorney General to Merrick Garland. She actually was speaking after Merrick Garland, basically saying that, you know, on that morning, you know, Breonna Taylor should have woke up and from, you know, as she normally would, but tragically that 26-year-old did not. I'm paraphrasing, but she also said that this indictment alleges that Louisville police detective Joshua James and Sergeant Kyle Meany knowingly drafted and approved a false affidavit to start a search warrant into Breonna's home, and unfortunately that set in motion tragic events that led to her death, and that's the real deal holy for that situation. I'm gonna get more into y'all people that's bashing these groups that actually be out here standing for the Green War and Graduation Party of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So you actually have in Ukraine there being evacuation orders for thousands of people in the eastern Donetsk region, and they're urging people to move west, and the troops and all of that. You got Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, that's saying that his troops are actually going through hellfire, through hell, while Russia is just like intensifying their invasion in that specific area. Now, you have Amnesty International, interestingly enough, saying that Ukraine is in violation of international humanitarian law because they're actually establishing bases and weapons facilities in residential areas where there are a lot of civilians, even in schools and in hospitals, and that you know, they're violating. And you have Volodymyr Zelensky responding to this report that actually came out, basically saying, like, you know, like our state is the aggression against our state is invasive. It's, you know, quite frankly, terroristic, and any report that kind of like alleges that we're the same as the aggressor on some level or whatever, or that analyzes data about us but not of the aggressor, it cannot be tolerated. Basically saying like, yo, you calling out the victims for acting out of desperation. And then you have Amnesty International responding to that, basically saying that, you know, being in the defense position does not excuse someone from, or a state from, upholding laws that international humanitarian laws, essentially. So I don't know, what do y'all think? Because I think when we start talking about murder and death and the preservation of sovereignty of a country and all-out war, like, I think ain't no rules when it comes to that shit, especially if you on defense getting your ass whipped. Maybe Ukraine need to throw in that white flag. But however, you know what I'm saying, it's very understood that Russia is bombing the fuck out of their military bases, taking shit over or whatever. So if that's all done, but you still got a military and you still got weapons and these billions of dollars that you're getting from the United States and help from NATO and all of that or whatever, what are you supposed to do? What is you supposed to do? But I don't know. What do you think? Like, I want the military people to comment on this. Like, how y'all feel about that? Green War on graduation. The New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now, this is a fucked up report, you know what I'm saying? Free Brittany Griner. This is the all-star Phoenix Mercury center, you know what I'm saying, who actually is one of the few people to just be dunking in games and all of that on the WNBA side of basketball. But in February, she was actually arrested after being caught with vape cartridges, bringing them through the Moscow airport in Russia. And this is, you know, right when they started getting active with Ukraine and Russia started their invasion later that month. So, you know, she's caught up in some shit. Well, on Thursday, the courts over there actually ruled that she was found guilty of drug smuggling for having these vape cartridges with cannabis oil. We're talking about what was said to be 0.7 grams of cannabis oil or whatever, even though it's considered to be a lot more than 0.7 just grams of weed. Still 0.7 grams of cannabis oil, and you getting the drug smuggling charge. Like, obviously trumped up charges, but they sentenced her to 9 years in a penal colony, which is basically jail, but it's like, you know what I mean, I guess in a more isolated area, and it comes with forced labor apparently. So 9 years for 0.7 grams of cannabis oil in vape cartridges. Now, she actually took responsibility for that, you know, basically saying, like, I understand what people were saying to me, you know what I mean, I understand that and that's why I pled guilty, but I had no intention on violating the Russian laws, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but she was saying that, you know, I just hope that in your plea that you take that in consideration and not in my life here. Well, 9 years, and this is, you know what I'm saying, she's 31 years old. Now, mind you, she done lived a basketball career that, like, anybody could dream of. Honestly, like, she's been at the heights of it. She has all of these medals from high school to college to the where she was at Baylor to the pros. You know what I'm saying? But still, it's 9 years of your life. That's crazy. So Russia is obviously playing a game because you have Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov, who's actually said that the Kremlin, you know, the Russian government, they remain open to discussing a prisoner swap for Brittany Griner as well as Paul Whelan, who was a former U.S. Marine who was actually arrested back in 2018 on espionage charges. And they probably did that thinking they could leverage something against the U.S. government under the Trump regime, but nevertheless, they got niggas by the balls now because the world can see that this is unjust. And it's fucked up because it's black people getting caught up in white people's bullshit, you know what I mean? Just to be frank about it. Nevertheless, Russia is rumored that Russia is trying to get like an arms dealer that the United States has in prison out. So they're talking about, you know, that's why they're talking about prisoner swaps. But we'll see how this turns out, yo. Free Griner, man. Green War on graduation. Streets report of the New World, though the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So China says that it will sanction U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and her immediate family for her visit to Taiwan, or Taiwan's capital, Taipei, when she went there on Wednesday during her Asia tour. Now, they're saying, you got China's foreign ministry saying that her actions were vicious and provocative. And, you know, they had stark warnings against anybody from any high-level officials from the U.S. actually going over there now, and said it had all sorts of violations of their internal affairs and whatnot. And Pelosi went anyway, obviously with U.S. backing. Now, she actually was wrapping up her tour in Tokyo, Japan, and she went interviewing with reporters. She was basically saying, we will not allow them to isolate Taiwan. We've had high-level officials there. You know, we've had senators in the spring. You know, they're just not going to let them isolate Taiwan, because since she has gone, China has actually ramped up like large-scale military drills around the island, basically blockading the island at the sea level and the air level. So, you know, but her talking like that sound like war talk to me. I don't know. What y'all think? Now, she also, keep in mind, had visited the demilitarized zone after going to South Korea. You know, and that zone is what separates North Korea and South Korea. Now, in doing so, she's doing so while the United Nations actually saying that the North Korea is like planning on doing a nuclear weapons test, where it'll be the first one, the large-scale one that they plan on doing. It'll be the first time they did one since they tested the hydrogen bomb in 2017. So obviously, people that's in the know, or people that's like trying to stay on point, especially on the presidential and prime minister or ruler level, niggas is getting ready for World War III. You know what I'm saying? Everybody getting their guns ready. You know what I'm saying? What is you gonna do about it though? Green War and graduation. Police reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. So over in Arizona, you have former TV news host and Trump-backed gubernatorial candidate and Trump supporter Carrie Lake actually winning the Republican primaries for the governor position of Arizona. Now she's just one step away from possibly being governor. She has to defeat whoever is the Democratic winner. Now you actually have her barely defeating Karen Taylor Robson, who actually had the support of former Vice President Mike Pence and other Republican people, you know, top Republican officials and all of that. But nevertheless, this is somebody that actually put Trump's big lie at the center of her campaign. You know what I'm saying? As far as the 2020 election being stolen, and said that she would not have certified Joe Biden to be the president, even though he had the most votes and won through all these investigations. We know he won fair and square at the end of the day. Now, you also have this happening while other Trump backers and 2020 election deniers have also won primary seats on Tuesday's election, including for positions in Arizona specifically, including positions of Congress, you know what I mean, Senate and Secretary of State. So shit is getting real, y'all. Even though this is one state, it's happening in other states like Michigan and all of that. But you know, while it wouldn't have been enough to overturn, it's very much setting a dangerous precedent of, you know what I mean, essentially a soft coup. You know what I'm saying? You putting people in position that's just gonna straight up lie to get motherfuckers in office. And shame on you people that's voting for these people. Like, what is wrong with you? You gonna vote for somebody that's just gonna blatantly lie to your face? I can understand if you found out it was a lie and all that, or it was on the sneak, but this person put this at the center of their campaign. Like, smarten up, Republicans. Green War, that's that MAGA shit, y'all. MAGA still got y'all high. Green War and graduation though. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. So, the Biden administration has officially declared monkeypox to be a public health emergency in the United States. You had Xavier Becerra, the Secretary for the Health and Human Services Department and the executive branch, actually making this announcement on Thursday, 2 weeks after the World Health Organization actually declared it a global health emergency. You know, the same way they did the coronavirus pandemic or whatever. Right now in the United States, there are over 7,100 cases of monkeypox, but it said that the true toll is most likely higher due to a severe number of shortages. There's even an article out, you know, there's stories out about people who feel like they've had it, but they've been denied testing because there's a lot of paperwork that actually even goes in for these medical professionals to even get testing for something that's considered so rare. Well, now with it being declared a public health emergency or whatever, that's bound to change. However, motherfuckers is spreading that shit, y'all. Motherfuckers got, you know what I mean, whelps and blisters in their ass and all of that, you know what I'm saying? And while the gay community did not create this disease, they are the ones that are spreading it, apparently. You know what I'm saying? From a lot of gay sexing that's going on unprotected. You know what I'm saying? And this is not to gay bash or anything like that, but this should be a huge wake-up call to the homosexual community. Like, maybe y'all gotta chill on that front. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, heterosexuals be having they problems and they wild orgies and all of that or whatever, but, you know, I done seen the Dear White People series, you know what I'm saying? I know it's different for y'all, you know what I'm saying? So, either way, motherfuckers gotta tighten up. If there's no bigger wake-up call than this, then what is? You know what I mean? Green War graduation, though. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. So, in New York, one of the most populous states in the United States, public health officials have actually said that polio virus samples have been found in the sewage system. Now, this is in Rockland County, which is right outside of New York City. So they're finding it in the Hudson River. I'm from Jersey. Black Fox News originated in Jersey City or whatever. So we in Hudson County. However, we are not too far from Bergen County, which shares a border with Rockland County in New York. So you could get to Rockland County by the Tappan Zee Bridge. That's actually the eastmost point of the eastern border of the county. Both states share the Hudson River, so this is a threat, and officials are saying hundreds may have already been, infected essentially with polio. Now they're linking the polio lineage to polio that was found in Israel. Always suspect when I hear shit like that with Israel, and the United Kingdom, where it makes you wonder, like, is somebody purposely putting this out there? How is it in the sewer system? Who the fuck put polio in the sewer system? Come on now. We ain't talking about somebody spreading it to somebody else or nothing like that. Like, why is it in the sewer system? Now, this is something that in 1979, the United States actually said that polio had been eradicated in the United States. So, something that we ain't have to worry about, that people were getting vaccinated for before. And still are. Right now, it said that in Rockland County, only 60% of Rockland's children have been vaccinated. This is a disease that mainly affects children. If you remember famously, one of our former great presidents who got us through the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt, grew up with polio, and he's famous for it because he actually overcame it physically or whatever. This is something that causes paralysis and even death at times. So that's what's going on. Everybody got to stay woke, y'all. Stay healthy. Maybe you got fast like the car, you digs? Green War and Graduation. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, somebody even describe him as Trump's, little puppy dog. And if you ever see him standing next to Trump, you kind of get wild. He kind of has this like real joyful, gleeful feel when he's around the MAGA Lord. And, he actually in April had put out a ban against abortions after 15 weeks in his state, which, pro-choicers are against. But I do think we need to have a good conversation about what a good time limit is between the pro-choicers and the pro-lifers. I mean, because I know the pro-choicers ain't talking about like 8 months and 9 months, are y'all? But nevertheless, that is the rule set in place. And as a result, he actually suspended Hillsborough County State Attorney, Andrew Warren, who actually had promised not to prosecute anyone who seeks or provides abortions. So Warren actually, who's a Democrat, he was elected twice for his position, whatever. He called it an illegal overreach and, a blatant slap in the face to voters. He's like, what I'm saying? I was shocked at the blatant disregard, and I'm paraphrasing, but at the blatant disregard for the people's basic rights to actually vote on elected officials and have them in there. I've done my job, I've done it well. I've been elected twice, crime is down, and if DeSantis thinks he could do a better job, he should run for state attorney instead of president. You know what I'm saying? So he came back like that. Keep in mind that this abortion thing, things like this, you're gonna start seeing all around the country ever since they essentially removed Roe v. Wade, or overturned Roe v. Wade in the Supreme Court, which is loaded with conservative-leaning judges. You know what I'm saying? Like never before, like Trump would say, right? Green War and Graduation, though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the FBI has actually arrested Wanda Vasquez, the former governor of Puerto Rico, on alleged bribery charges. They're saying that she actually accepted bribes in 2019 and 2020, all part of this scheme to finance her run for governor in 2020, and that she accepted in 2019 and 2020 bribes while she was governor, including one from Julio Martin Herrera Bellutini. This is somebody who's a banker out there and was under investigation by the agency that actually oversees the financial institutions in Puerto Rico. In exchange, allegedly, for this bribe, Vasquez, she actually demanded the resignation of the director of that agency, then later appointed a new director who was actually a former consultant for Herrera's bank. So they're also being charged with wire fraud and conspiracy charges. If convicted on all charges, they face up to 20 years in jail. Now, I will say this, a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? Trump was talking about when it came to that flooding situation that caused all those power outages out in Puerto Rico. and then Puerto Rico's debt situation getting put on blast and all of that. Trump was, albeit recklessly, talking about how, it's because of how they're handling shit over there, whatever. Maybe this is some of the stuff he was talking about. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, definitely a broken clock, but you gotta acknowledge when it's right. It's 3:55. It is what it is. That's the time. Green War graduation though. Police report out of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So a jury in Austin, Texas has actually decided that Alex Jones, the host of InfoWars, some may consider him a far-right conspiracy theorist, which he definitely has been since MAGA has entered the political mainstream, ordered him to pay $4.1 million to the family of Jesse Waters, a 6-year-old boy who was actually murdered in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting that took place in Newtown, Connecticut. Now, Alex Jones through InfoWars had for years insisted that that attack was a government hoax and that the families and all that were like paid actors. Now, I've seen him, me personally, I've seen him concede to the fact that like he could not disprove it, and this is well before he was sued and all of that, whatever, like that he couldn't disprove it, like it actually must be true. But in general, that doesn't take away from the fact that some of these shootings look suspect and probably are government hoaxes and all of that, whatever. I concur with that shit. However, this in particular hit him hard. I mean, his years of doing it caused like harassment against some of these families who were really grieving after a fucking massacre. You know what I'm saying? And he was ordered to pay $4.1 million. Now, mind you, as I reported earlier in the week, the families in total trying to get him for 25 M's. He ain't got it. I don't know why they even coming like that. Or maybe he does. He did make a lot of money selling products like colloidal silver, which I had bought from InfoWars at one point or whatever. And it actually worked pretty good. Nevertheless, that's what's going on. You have, they're reconvening today actually to see how much he should pay these families in punitive damages. So we'll see what happens. Unfortunately though, I feel like there should be a lot more concentration given towards the ones that are government hoaxes. Like, are there any of these shootings that are fake? Can we prove that? Because then it would seem like there's room for bro to have made such a mistake. Still doesn't take away from the damages, and that's what happens when you got millions and millions of people following you. You have to be exactly sure before you start saying shit like that is going to cause people harassment. Especially with how Alex Jones be out here talking. He be talking like he ready to pop something. Now, I'm going to speak a little more at Alex Jones because I had a love-hate relationship for him. I actually fucked with bro because it looked like he made that movie The Zeitgeist, that documentary, which actually put me on to, some hoaxes and funny shit that the government was doing, including, the 9/11 being the inside job, which, I already proved in BFN World Broadcast #1, so I know I'm stating facts. Come see about me, like, these is facts, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it seemed like when Trump got, he racist on the inside because Trump started talking that talk and he was hypnotized by that shit. Now he's siding with anything Trump do and Trump be wrong as fuck. So just like I told you, Alex Jones and BFN World Broadcast #8, you getting karma biting your ass for supporting Trump. You know what I mean? You should have known better. You went up against George Bush and them. So I'm wary on calling you some right-wing person or whatever, but it's like, come on, guy. The man was blatantly lying. You still be backing everything he do. Green War on graduation, though. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Rest in peace to Albert Woodfox. This is a former Black Panther. Actually is on record as having served the longest sentence in solitary confinement in prison in U.S. history, which was at nearly 44 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? This man died at the age of 75 after only being free for 6 years. And he died from COVID. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Rona, man. But nevertheless, him and 2 other Black Panthers were actually known as the Angola 3 after they were wrongfully convicted of for murder. Well, I would say convicted for murder, which was retaliation for their political and racial justice activism that was going on inside the Angola prison. So, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, somebody that definitely stood for the people, so he at least needs, a soldier salute. Rest in power. Albert Woodfox, Green War and graduation.